Hi, Orange Girl here with another scrapbooking process video for you. Alright, so I have this photograph of my daughter and my two grandsons playing Play-Doh in their pajamas. And I pulled a couple of things from the kit. This is the June Clique Kits. And I grabbed this paper because I thought it fit the mood, but also the colors. And this is from Amy Tan, and then this is just white cardstock. So I think I'm going to do something kind of like this. That's all I know. I grabbed all the other stuff and I'm going to get started. All right, so I gathered all of my supplies as you saw there, and now I am ready to start cutting and putting it together. I knew my basic design. I wanted part of the page to be this paper and the other part to be that acetate on white cardstock. And as soon as I did this, I realized, okay, so my very first cut, I cut at 6 inches. And I really wanted it to be more than half of the page. And so I messed it up, but I thought, well, I don't have another piece of that paper, so I'm just going to go with it and keep moving. So I'm going to use that acrylic word from Bella Blvd that says memories as part of my title. But I thought I might as well get the background all taken care of. So what I did, I was a little bit more careful here, and I cut that acetate at 7 inches so that I could put some glue down at the bottom where it will not show, because that other piece of pattern paper will cover it up. Okay, so once I have that ready to go, then the next thing I think that I work on is my title. So I know I want the word memories to be part of my title, but it's not going to show up. And so I decided I needed to back it just like I might back a cut file. So I'm adding a little bit of glue behind the acrylic, or to the acrylic on the back side, and I'm just going to glue it down on a piece of scrap white cardstock, and I'm going to let that dry a little bit. I'm going to work on some other things, and then I'll go back to it and cut around it, and you'll see that here coming up. So that's going to be part of my title. And then the next part here, I'm just kind of looking at what do I want to use as possible letters for the rest of my title. And at the same time, I'm looking and trying to determine what I might want to use as a border around my whole layout. And this paper that I just put behind it right there, it's called Hope, is the paper that I do end up using eventually. But I try out a few others before I make the final decision. Like this one, I tried, and then I thought about using that as my letters at the top as well, but I don't end up doing that. So I knew I wanted to do a technique where I cut out letters from a pattern paper and I just cut them out freehand. The way that I do that is I cut this piece of pattern paper. I believe it is Island Escape. Oh no, I don't remember what it's called. But it is Hand in Hand, I think, actually is what it's called. And I cut it at 1.5 inches, and I cut the length of the pattern paper, and then I cut little strips of it off, and then I just freehand cut the letters. The trick to this is that you don't want to cut up and down, so the height of the letters stays the same. You want to make sure that you don't cut the height at all. You only cut around to make the letter. So I do this a lot on a lot of my layouts. I haven't done it for a while, but I really like to do it. The ones that are hard to do are the round ones, and I mess up this G, so I have to do it twice. But I really like the way that it looks. It looks kind of artsy or whimsical, and it just adds to the whole idea of adding those colors that go with the whole layout, and I like the way that it looks. So then next I'm going to go ahead and cut around memories, just so that there's white behind it, but that's all you see. You don't see it around the edges. Then my title will be nearly complete. The other thing that I did do off camera here is I went ahead and I haven't done it yet, I don't think, but in a second here I will have. I pulled all of the ephemera pieces out of the Bella Blvd Island Escape ephemera pack that I thought I might use. They're all a bunch of different florals. I mean, the whole pack is florals, but I pulled out the ones that were not huge, that were various sizes, but not the biggest ones, basically. And so I'm just going to add those around on top of behind my photo. And that is about it. That is almost all of my layout once I get this part done, because I have so much going on here with color and patterns that I really didn't feel like I needed to add too many more things to the layout. So I'm just kind of trying to layer these pieces on and around my photo. I have a few layering over the top because there's some empty spots in my photograph. This is a photo of my daughter and my two grandsons, and they are playing with Play-Doh, and I took it from above, and so there you can see the table there and the Play-Doh, and they're looking up. So there are some empty spots there. So now I got out the cut apart, or not the cut apart, the printable that comes with the June kits, and this is I think I end up using one phrase from this, and the phrase is my tribe, and I'm going to use it as part of my title. So my title is going to end up being Making Memories with My Tribe, and the with comes from the phrase stickers from Pretty Little Studio that are included in the kit, and I just cut off the word with from that, and those are the phrase stickers, and I'll do that later as I start to glue things down. I toyed with the idea of adding some pineapples from the printable, but then I decided, you know what, I've got enough going on here. I don't really need to add anything else. So I'm pretty much done except for my border and gluing down. So right now what I'm doing is I'm using my ruler to kind of give me a guide to get some of this straight. I'm gluing these little pieces of ephemera to each other so that it's a little bit easier to move. I'm not gluing them down on the page quite yet. I had a little bit of tissue from my stash behind my photo and rough it up a little bit with that right there, that distress tool. And then I add some foam behind my photo to pop it up off the page bit. I end up adding a little bit of foam behind a couple of the flowers as well. The foam I just get at Michael's. It's just cheap. It has some adhesive on one side, and then I use my glue bottle for the other side. So once I get these all lined up here, and then I'll add my title, and I'm pretty much done except for my journaling. So off camera, I typed up my journaling. I can see it. It's sitting there kind of by that piece of that thread right there, which I do pull some thread out, some pink thread, and I put it behind my flowers on both sides, and I put it behind my title there. Anyway, so the journaling says, Play-Doh in pajamas, what's better on a lazy Saturday morning? And this was one of those photos that when I took it, I was like, I need to scrap that right now. And so like I did this layout within a couple of days of taking the photograph. Actually, the first moment that I had a chance to scrap, I did it. It's the end of the school year, and so I was finishing up, and so I had to wait until that was all over before I could actually scrap it. So right there, I cut off some strips around the outside, and you saw me kind of measure that. I realized as soon as I made the first cut that I cut too much off. So my border was going to be too wide, so I decided to add a little bit of white cardstock in between my layout and my background. You'll see it pop up in here, and then I am done. That's it. The layout is finished, so all I have to do now is add a few little pieces of the exclusive sequins that came exclusively in this kit, and then I'm done, and I think I glue the background down to the border off camera, but other than that, that's about it. This was a really fun one to make. It came together in like 30 minutes, which never happens to me. I didn't use any mixed media, which is probably part of the reason, but I didn't end up needing to. I liked the way it ended up looking. So here come the close-ups, and thanks a lot for stopping by. I will see you again in my next video.